Yo, my name is Carl Johnson. I'm a mechanical engineer, but more aptly a human of planet Earth. I am not a YouTuber or influencer or podcaster. I actually defected from social media almost 7 years ago because it seemed like their optimization was forcing attention and not connection. I'm not overly comfortable in front of a camera, but here we are anyways. I have a strong moral belief that when something is important enough, you take action, even if it is not comfortable and even if it is not easy. So here I am. I don't need to tell you that we are in a very interesting period, to put it very lightly, of civilization, of human civilization. Our environment has been, our civilizational environment has been accelerating. The change has been accelerating. Meanwhile, our organizational structure, our civilizational operating system has been stagnant and has not been adapting, which anybody who understands biology will know this is not a good pathway as an organism who is not adapting in its new environment. And while we hear the never-ending drumbeat of the issues that are a result of this non-responsiveness to our changing environment, I do not hear any good signal of solutions to these problems, and that is quite worrisome. We need to come together and address this, and this is why I'm here today. I do not wish to be here. This is uncomfortable for me, and I wish that we had some sort of well-functioning, well-oiled machine that we were all part of, maximizing happiness, maximizing freedom, maximizing our ability to thrive. But this is simply not the case. It seems to be going in the exact opposite direction of those optimizations. So I do have an idea. I have a relentlessly curious mind which tries to absorb as much information as possible in all of these things. And I've been observing what's been happening these past several years, and it's been demoralizing to watch, and it's been very very worrisome as someone who loves humanity, who thinks that humans are great and that we are the steward of consciousness, this delicate candle of consciousness. It is our responsibility to carry this forward into the future. And it appears as though our leadership today and the operating system that we are carrying out our lives in does not seem to be respecting this. Instead, they seem to be optimizing for themselves. They seem to be trying to push some narrative to retain power, to acquire wealth, to cling on to the past. And this results in massive gyrations of stability, instability in our civilization, which anybody has been paying any sort of attention would see this. And we need bold leaders to step up at this time. We need new ideas. We need all these things. So this is the discussion I'd like to start today. I do have an idea, and I'm curious to see if there's interest in this, and I think that we should be pursuing all options simultaneously to write our course and ensure that we collectively can have a thriving, vibrant, happy, secure, free future for humanity. What I'm proposing today is something I call cultures. And a culture, the cultural framework is a digital, biological, and physical organism whose form and function evolves rapidly through an incentivized war of ideas, bits, and atoms. And this operates in absolute transparency that can be forked at any time. These cultures all sit on top of a substrate. So if you do not believe in what is happening in one culture, you can defect and go to another culture, or you can support multiple cultures simultaneously. Or if you believe mostly in a single culture and they are not adopting or listening to your ideas, or they are going in some strange direction that you no longer believe in, you can fork this culture yourself and take it in your own direction. And if there is value in your forked variant and others find value in your forked variant, they will follow, they will invest their time and assets, and that will be successful. It's all about adopting the biological, the natural selection process within biology to make as much progress as possible, to increase our rate of innovation, and not allow us to be in a framework where the ideas are clung on to. We need absolute transparency of operations, and the leaders of these cultures need to emerge. They should not be voted in by some popularity contest that has no accountability, that is short-sighted in length due to the election cycle. These leaders should emerge as with track records. They can be held accountable through their track record, and if people no longer believe in them, they have 100% vote of where they put their time and resources. This increases the scope and scale of democracy and of freedom, and it holds the leaders accountable. As if they are not honest, or if they are not making progress in the direction that they say they would, then they will be left behind, or their culture will be forked, and someone else who has better ideas can move this forward. Now, when you think about this in a company, a typical company, they have all of these intellectual property walls I call IP silos, which does not allow humans that have a better idea but can't get within that organization, or the idea can't be heard within that organization all the way at the top from the bottom. So these ideas are squandered, they're squashed, or they're never heard, or there's some sort of other optimization that is taking place here. How it should be is replicating the biological process of natural selection, of evolution. So all of the IP within a genome, the DNA sequence within a genome, is replicated to its child. But there is a mutation mechanism of randomness function, where if there is a new idea, a new mutation in this analogy, it can have an opportunity to thrive without having to start over. So if you had a genome that had to completely start over and create a fully random DNA sequence, the probability of that, the result of this, would be almost certainly non-recognizable, and certainly not as well suited for its environment. But if this this mutation was able to copy the DNA sequence from its parent, who was already the result of this natural selection process, and then apply a small change that might make it far superior in its environment, this should be allowed. So this is what cultures are all about, to maximize transparency, to increase the rate of innovation and keep progress moving forward. Now, the people that do not have good ideas, that do not execute on their claims, that have a track record of inaccountability or lies or deception, this will be very apparent very quickly, as the culture will be stagnant, or they will be continually copying ideas from other cultures. So this is just a totally new framework that allows true leaders to emerge. Ones that execute on ideas, that have ideas themselves, that reward the individuals within their cultures appropriately. Now, cultures have two primary structures. The base layer is called the foundation, and this includes token generation, a transparent ledger, a purpose trust to operate infrastructure in the physical domain without having centralized ownership. It contains polling functions so that the culture can continually in real time see feedback or poll for feedback on anything that is operating within a culture. It has rules if it wishes to have rules, and it is all contained within the foundation of a culture. And this foundation is on top of what I call a substrate. And this is a permissionless substrate where people at any time can defect from a culture and take their assets, their intellectual property, any sort of value they have in this culture, and bring it into another culture at no cost. So this is a forcing function for the leadership of a culture to be honest and make progress and be true to the values of their culture. Otherwise, the people that are within this culture will defect and go to another culture along this substrate. Now, individuals can be a part of many cultures, or they can transfer at any point between cultures or defect altogether. Now, on top of the foundation of each culture is what I call a potential. This is the culture's purpose. This contains three primary bodies, the central of which is called the nucleus. Now, the nucleus is the culture's digital hub. This has this is where the ideas meet in the digital space. This is where we have connection and collaboration, and this is where this is the heart of a culture. And what's unique here is that the nucleus itself is built by its community, and the community is rewarded for the design and the functionality of this nucleus. And in our newly digital world, I think that the medium for which this takes place in is not. I think we're at a very early stage in what a digital hub can enable. And the structure of this digital hub can be anything. Now, tokens are generated within the foundation of every culture, a fixed amount every day. And the culture itself and the leadership within the culture can decide how these tokens be distributed in a 100% transparent fashion. A single token is generated every second, so this can be changed in real time, and it should change. It should change over time as cultures grow in size and as they evolve. And no one person knows how that will turn out in the future, but if they need the ability to adapt, and the culture can be polled to see how they feel the distribution should be. But at the end of the day, the leadership will have the ability to make the decisions that they feel is right. And if they continually show that they are adding the most value to their culture, this will be evident in a truly transparent nature. The problem, cryptocurrencies came along to address many of these things, but the problem with a couple of things with cryptocurrencies is the first, if you're trying to make progress, you need some sort of centralization you need some sort of structure. You need some executive leader to be bold and make decisions when they need to be made and set the course. Now, the inherent nature of cryptocurrency is decentralization. However, when you have full decentralization, absolutely nothing gets done. So in the case of Bitcoin, where it's just a number going back and forth, sure, you don't ever need to update your software. It's just a very simple, very low bandwidth operation. However, more recent blockchains that still claim decentralization, you're getting the worst of both worlds, because they inherently, if you want to build on top of these blockchains in anything more than just a currency, when you want programs and more advanced algorithms to run within this environment, you need to update your build environment itself to stay competitive. And if you're updating your build environment and you have a very small amount of blockchain nodes, of nodes within this blockchain, then there's no benefit to being distributed anymore, because you're essentially got the worst of both worlds. You have a decentralized limitation in your server efficiency, and you have a centralized control of how that foundation is being built. So while I fully agree with the intention of cryptocurrencies and the ideas that is brought forward to the table, I think that to solve the magnitude of our current civilizational problems, cryptocurrencies fall short. And it's important to keep in mind that money is just information. Money is just information, low bandwidth information. And money in and of itself has no value. It is only when the money is backed by people and infrastructure and ideas and some community that are using this money, that are incentivized by this money. This is where this generates value. Adding digital currency on its own does not earn value. Value added earns digital currency. This is underappreciated, I think, today, but I do think that the massive gyrations in cryptocurrency prices are the realization that the underlying assets of these blockchains really have no value. This comes out when you have a $3 million JPEG. End quote. We can do this. It's sad to see the people out there that have lost hope, or the people out there that are just have lost the drive to even pay attention, who are just looking down and falling in line. But let me be absolutely clear. When looking through a clear lens, we are in a very volatile state when leadership has forgotten what's made civilization great and is a result of what is mostly an unaccountable popularity contest. Decisions appear to be made that are not in the best interest of the humans of planet Earth, not in the best interest of their health, not in the best interest of their ability to thrive. What an organizational leadership group should do at every level is to create the best possible environment for the people within that organization to thrive. Give them all the tools they need, give them the freedom they need, give them the ability to collaborate and communicate and give them anything that could possibly help push their ideas into reality. And while absolutely the ideas on the fringe will inherently be mostly nonsense, if you do not allow these ideas to propagate, if you do not encourage these ideas to be heard and to be discussed, this is where progress ends. This is where the organism that is humanity stops evolving. And in our ever-changing environment, in our ever-evolving digital sphere, and our ever-changing physical sphere, this puts humanity in a great amount of risk. And I implore all humans that listen to this message to think deeply about this. And this is not simply a message of concern. This is a call to action that we can do better. This is silly what's happening, and if we come together, we have the resources and the technology and the will to do something. We can create a great future for humanity, one that we're proud of, one that maximizes happiness and freedom and just excitement for humanity. Because at the end of the day, we are the stewards of the delicate candle of consciousness, and it is our responsibility to ensure this candle is taken forward into the future as long as possible, to allow us, to give us the time to understand the nature of the universe, and to spread the awesome that is humanity, spread the love and the creativity and the connection with humans, because it's all we have. All we have is each other, and I believe in humanity. I love humanity. I think that people are great. I think that we will be able to get through this time, but not without a great amount of effort that is intentional. We must disengage autopilot and make direct progress here. And we must reason from first principles as to the best way to do this. So I think we should. I think we should do this. I think that now is a great time to step up, to come together, to think outside the box, and to help ensure that the future of humanity is one that we are proud of, and one that we can have our final breath and be proud of what we left our children and what will be left behind for their children and all subsequent generations of humans. I think this is incredibly exciting. What we are doing today is starting the first culture and calling it Earth. Like I said, this is a organization of the people, and it is starting in a humble place with a simple website with open source code and a token generator that is operating, and a very simple text-based interface where people can communicate. And it is up to everyone who wants to build the future together to contribute. And if there's value added, then great. And if you feel you're being wronged, great. Fork and create your own culture. Take everything that has been built by everyone before you, and go forth and take that framework and take your belief system, and anybody else who is that also finds value in what you are aspiring to and what you believe in. And if you can create this culture and find other people who are willing to add their time and their resources to this thing, wonderful. We need many of these cultures to be thriving, and it can be a competing race between these things. And of course, if any culture is falling behind, they can just copy what a successful culture is, but this will be obvious in time, and clear, true leaders will emerge here. So the people that are scared of that hide behind walls, that have had one good idea and then hide behind that good idea their entire life. That is not what is happening here. This is not how you make progress. You made progress in an ongoing war of ideas and bits and the best construction of atoms. And if you do not have ideas, or are not a developer or an inventor or a creator or manufacturer, great. Choose the culture that you believe in, that seem to have the best ideas that are aligned with your belief system, and invest in them. Spend time collaborating within them. Spend time in getting to know the people within them. We are not built to be in a single melting pot, which is essentially what has happened from the time of the origins of social media. When you squeeze minds, billions of minds with very fundamentally different belief systems, this results in a chaotic and non-progressive, non-constructive dialogue that is just full of infighting, and this inhibits progress. This increases hate needlessly. If you have a different belief system, would you not choose to join a culture with this belief system, and instead of absorbing a contradicting belief system and fighting these people every day, take your own vector, and if it is effective and if you have a big community behind you, then you will be successful. And the barrier to start this own vector should be 0. Copy any current vector, take its entire framework, and then add to it, or don't add to it. But if there is value there, and there are other people who want to spend their time and their resources there, then you will be successful. And you can do whatever you'd like in this community of people, in this war of ideas, bits and atoms. So this is just the idea of one person, not saying I'm right, but it does make sense. And I think it's worth a shot. And I'd be happy to discuss with anyone that does not feel like they are being guided or led in the correct direction. Anyone that feels like they can be doing something more in this very strange moment in time. That we can. We have the underlying technology to do so. So this is our time to take hold of the situation and go forth and blaze your own trail and build a future that we want.